Okay, guys, so welcome to your rocket ship lesson. Basically, you're going to do a rocket ship blasting off on your space background that you import in to Animation Desk from Sketchbook, the same space background that you did. So if you didn't do that and turn that in, you're going to need to have something. You're going to need to make a space, otherwise you won't have a background to take off from. And so the idea behind this is to create a rocket ship blasting off, and then the smoke gets less and less as the rocket ship blasts off the screen. Or you have the choice of doing a UFO that flies across the screen and beams down or beams up a little alien guy and then flies off. Mr. Rodriguez will be doing that lesson in the tutorial dashboard, and then I will be putting this one in the tutorial dashboard. So if you look over here on my layers, you're going to have your background with the space, and then you're going to basically have your line art is how you're going to animate this. So I'm going to turn off those layers. So you're going to be with, let's turn off the background too. Okay, so you're going to animate the line art. And as your rocket gets about halfway, your smoke's going to be like billowing out and building up and building up and building up. And then about halfway, then the smoke starts reducing. Your blasts don't touch the ground anymore and reduce a little bit. And then it will go right off the page. Okay, so let's go. I'm going to teach you how to set this up. It needs to be 48 frames minimum. If you want to go longer, you can. And your rocket blast off should last until your 30s somewhere, and then you can take it and have it disappear near the end. Okay, so let's start with a new file, new sequence. Ta-da. We'll call this Rocket UFO War. It needs to be 48 frames, so I'll just go ahead and give it the 48 that you'll need as a minimum. Alright, so first things first is go to your background, and then up here at the top of the screen, I'm going to make it blink off, on and off, black and gray. It's the third icon from the left, from the top right hand corner. So the top right hand corner, third icon, it's a little mountains with a plus sign, same icon that we had in Sketchbook for importing in stuff from your camera roll or your files. You probably go to camera roll, but wherever you stuck your space when you exported it. And then you'll find your space file, and import that in. That'll go on all the frames. Alright, so now you got your background in, so then you're going to go up here to a nice drawing tool. Do not use the pencil, use the inking tool for good clean line art, because you did your UFO. Well, do it in a tool that'll match your illustration. I think most of you did your space illustration with a pen. So go to layer 1. Do not put this on your background, so go over here and select layer 1, and then with a, get drawing color that you'll need and pen size, and find a place where a rocket ship can take off. So I'm just going to do like the bullet type of rocket. I'm going to turn off my background with the eyeball so I can draw my rocket. Okay. And then so I'm just going to do a really rough rocket here. When you draw, make sure you go to your layer where your rocket is. Put a little antenna on it, maybe a little porthole. Just some things to keep track of as it animates. So my rocket's going to be really rough because I don't have time to draw like a really super bitchin' one. Some dorsals. Alright, so now my rocket is ready to draw. I'm also going to draw the smoke and the blast off, and I'm going to do that after I animate the rocket. So this will be the same way you animate the UFO, except the UFO you're going to have to move it off screen when you start it, so that it like appears off like from the right side and moves over to the left, or from the left to the right, whatever you want to do. It's a little bit more animation on the rocket, on the UFO, but both are really fun to do. Alright, and then I'm going to render this with color. Everything will be done after the fact, just like I showed you how to color stuff in on your running dancing fighting man animation. Okay, so this is super simple. All you have to do is go and select it, and then you're going to drag it a little bit. So you're going to copy it first with the next to the arrow, or I mean next to the scissors icon. There's two little pages or two little boxes on top of each other. So it's right next to the scissors. You're going to copy it. Remember, when we do this, we get a little bit of onion skinning. So if you drag it too far, your rocket ship's going to shoot off the page really fast. We have 48 frames, so you need to make this last. It's a slow burn takeoff, so you're just going to move it in very small increments. Okay, now I'm going to, just for the sake of reaching the end here, I'm going to do mine a little bit faster. So you need to move yours a lot slower, okay, and a lot smaller increments than actually I'm doing it right now. So once you move it with the onion skin, be careful not to scale it or turn your animation desk like thing, because you need it all to line up, and if you don't line up like this, it'll get wobbly. So after you drag it and see the onion skinning, you go to the new frame and you paste it. So and if you make a mistake, you could always go back and copy an earlier version. So drag it a little bit, go to the new frame, paste it. Drag it a little bit, and I'm moving mine a little bit further than I should be. I'm going to actually finish this way before the end, and you don't want to do that. You don't want this to finish before the end of your 48th frame, so you need to go in smaller increments, like it's a slow blast off. Think about when rockets do blast off, they start slow and build up momentum, you know? And the UFO, we kind of just want it to slowly hover by and beam. It's not going to like whiz by and beam, okay? All right, so once you dragged it, go to the new frame, paste it, drag it a little bit, new frame, paste it, drag it a little bit, new frame, paste it. I'm trying to reach the end here, paste. I'm moving it too far. So mind you, don't move yours as far as mine. If you move them too far apart like that, when you do it's just gonna whiz by really quick. I'm just trying to get it off the page here so you can see what to do. Go to the new frame, paste it. So mine's gonna like, oops, what did I do? I copied and pasted it right back where I started. So what can I do? Well, I could go ahead and just like delete that frame. How do I get a good version of the rocket? We'll go back when it was all on the page, select it, copy it again, go to where you're going. You could turn on onion skinning at that point over here to the side, the actual onion skinning, not the paste onion skinning. And you can see I was kind of like going off to the side there a little bit by accident. But I'm going to drag it up and hit paste, and then just continue from there. So and see, like I did, I made that mistake again. So what do? We'll deselect it. You're going to go get a good one from somewhere. That includes also if you accidentally turn the animation page. Let's turn off onion skinning. So if you make any, sorry about that. I got a message in the middle of the animation. So if we're going to do any, it's my sister. If we're going to do any like mistakes or new stuff, then we just have to go back and select a good one, copy it, go to where we're going. I'm going to turn on onion skinning, okay? And it looks like that I moved to over here. No, there we go. Go to the new frame, hit paste. I'm going to turn off regular onion skinning because it can be a little confusing with both features on. So I'm going to drag it a little bit. That's too far. How far should you do it? Like a smidgen. Okay, why am I dragging it too far? Because I want to get to the end of this, not have a 20-minute video or 2-hour video, So I'm kind of shortcutting it a little bit, okay, mind you. Go to the new frame, paste, and then you just drag it right off. New frame, paste. All right. New frame, paste. So you want one not completely off, so it disappears. So I should actually be finishing this up technically somewhere around 30 something. Okay, like between 30 and 35 is where I should be getting to that point. I kind of shortcutted just for the sake of it. Keeping this recording lessons shorter. So now let's watch it. All right, too fast, but that's essentially what you're going to do. So just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Just remember, you select it, drag it, go to the new frame, paste it. Drag it, go to the new frame, paste it. It'll still be able to paste over and over again. If you mess up, then you'll have to go to a good one and copy it again. All right, now we need the rocket effect. So the blast off. So what you're going to do is try not to move the animation desk. See, that's what I was talking about. If you do that while you're copy pasting and moving the rocket, it'll get all weird. All right, so let's, oops, did it again. All right, so the next one, we're going to go ahead and draw our blast off. When you do your blast off, it could be, you know, something like this. You know, however you want to draw it, different methods. Okay. And you're going to want to do your smoke. So your smoke is just going to start off as kind of just billowy. Don't forget to do a little bit blast off it. So each time you're gonna, you could turn on onion skinning and kind of like try to match it. It's gonna sort of roll off and build up on the sides, and you kind of want to layer it, and then draw your blast off. The flames is the blast off. And then, you know, if you don't want onion skinning on, you don't need onion skinning on. Probably drawing the blast off flames would be the best thing to do first. And then, you know, design this however you see fit. And then just little curvy, and like I said, layer it. And you can have a few little billows popping off to the side there. So that builds up. I don't know if I'll have the opportunity and time to do it all, so I may skip ahead, and then we'll go look at a finished one. But you kind of want it to roll off to the sides. Don't forget to put some smoke behind the rocket. And then about halfway through, the smoke is going to start diminishing, and your rockets are not going to actually be reaching the ground anymore. So I'm kind of skipping ahead here a little bit too far. Alright, at this point I think I can make my rocket blast off not touch the ground anymore and be just like a roundish kind of like teardrop shaped point. And then there'll still be plenty of smoke. You know, you can turn on onion skinning and you can kind of see where your blast off should be now at this point. This is where you can kind of turn on onion skinning. And this is also where you want to start diminishing the smoke. Okay. Now I'm not going to go all the way because you don't really need to see me Let's just do one more of it diminishing here. So I'm kind of reducing the smoke. Okay. Now when you get to like way up here and the rocket is just about to like go off the screen is where we'll skip to. You're still going to have a little bit of smoke down here. Okay. And you're still going to have like blast off even though I can't see the rockets anymore. Okay. So like I skipped all this in between here because I don't have time for it, but like when you get up to this point, you have it gradually reduced. Now, what about color? Now, let's go to one that's kind of bigger here. You will go to each one. This is the time. This is the time consuming part for this project because it's color. This is a full color animation. So what you'll do is you go over to your layers here and push this layer. You just hold down on it and drag it. Take the bottom layer here, and that's where you're going to do all your coloring. Now your coloring would probably be best with the first paintbrush tool up there. This one, see it's under paintbrush, not inking. And then, you know, whatever color you want your rocket to be. Why do I like this? And see, as I paint, it's kind of just like how it was in the sketchbook. The lines are above it now because of the layers. Okay, and you can even like render here with this tool. That's really nice. You don't have as much transparency control as you do in Sketchbook, but like I could go over here and add some highlights because this paintbrush actually has some transparency built into it. You know, so you can kind of like, you know, do a nice rendering. Now with your smoke from your blast off, I would also equally kind of lightly go in there with the light gray. I wouldn't do a heavy hand there because you remember it builds up because you want it to be semi-transparent. And then for your, you know, your rocket blast, and then you go to the next frame over and you do the same thing. It'll be time consuming, you know. Try to use the same color. I'm kind of brushing it and I didn't sample the color. Including highlights. You can see like, okay, wow, this is a lot of work. Okay. And then, you know, also the smoke. You have an eyedropper here, so, you know, you can easily go an eyedropper, the old color. And, you know, render it as you see fit. You know, if you want to add more color than I am doing, highlights to the smoke, darker smoke, lighter smoke. I think sometimes, you know, depending on what the rocket fuel is, it burns. It might be white poofs instead of black. But you get the idea. All right, so like, let's go to a finished one now. Well, before we do that, when you do the UFO, what you're going to have to do is animate your UFO, which I'll do in class. I'll do it on a different layer here. You're going to have to draw your UFO, however, you draw the UFO. Maybe there's a little alien inside. Okay. The UFO is going to start off the page. So you're going to have to select it, copy it, and then start it over here like that, and then paste it, drag it. Oops, I don't think I pasted it. There we go. Paste it. Drag it. Go to the new frame. Okay, and then drag it, go to the new frame, paste it, drag it, go to the new frame, like that. Okay, so you're going to creep it along and then it'll go off. So it'll be like start off the page, travel. Somewhere in the middle it'll stop, and then basically your beam down effect, which I'll do in class, will start like this. We basically draw it and then erase it a little bit at a time. So we can either make the beam down go backwards or forwards, and then deposit a little alien man. Okay, I'm not going to screw up this one, so I'll do the UFO in class. Mr. Rodriguez is going to record one for you. Let's go look at the finished, semi-finished one. I mean, this isn't exactly polished. I haven't really done my color very well here. And I kind of like colored on more than one layer by mistake and a couple other things, but you'll get the gist of it. Okay, so and then also there is a feature where you can do transparency on the smoke if you put your smoke on a separate layer. So your animation will start. Smoke starts to dissipate. Rockets dissipate. And then it's done. Okay. All right, so in class, we will cover this a little bit more in depth. That is the basic part of the lesson. It's worth 2,000 million trillion zillion points. It's your final project for the quarter before we roll into the mythology project, which is going to be using Sketchbook and Animation Desk both. And we won't have a chance for fourth quarter to come back and revisit this stuff until maybe the very end. If you needed to make it up or something, I'll probably provide a little bit. But let's try to get this one done when we have the chance so you can get that quarter grade, because this could really hurt your quarter grade, all right, which you don't want to happen. So have fun with this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it in class. And I'll see you there. Bye, guys.